want to get into personally how we've created our wealth. Because I'm sure that people are wondering, all right, so y'all talking about money. What makes you qualified to talk about money? And are you, do you have some level of wealth, right? Because I know some broke attorneys.
Oh, most are broke.
Yeah, I know some broke financial advisors.
Trust, most attorneys walking in our community are broke.
Yeah. And I know financial advisors who are broke.
Yep.
Yeah.
People who help people with money who are broke.
Yep.
Accountants who are broke.
Yeah.
So just because they went to college to learn about money, which is probably not the best way to learn, my personal opinion. Yeah. Doesn't mean they really understand money or understand how to build wealth.
I'm curious, as an attorney, do they talk about money even in law school?
Absolutely not.
Interesting.
We have courses, finance, corporate whatever, banking regulation, and I took all those classes in law school. I took all the tough classes in law school. But none of those classes really talked about money. It talked about the regulation of money, the regulation of financial institutions, what bankruptcy is, but it said nothing about how to avoid these situations and how to amass wealth and the implications for you and your family.
I'll validate that. I have a finance degree.
Yes.
And my biggest surprise after 4 years, I still didn't know how to manage my personal money.
Right.
But I knew the regulations.
Right. Exactly.
So let's debunk the myth. They are not teaching us about money. If you're going to learn about money, you have to learn on your own. You have to be self-taught.
Yes.
So I'll start with myself personally, in terms of how I came into a better understanding of money. And basically how I came into a better understanding of money was simply, I went to the library, actually Borders, it wasn't the library. Mm-hmm. But I went to Borders and I started buying books on money.
What was your first book? You remember it?
I don't remember it. I still have it in my library at home. It was something like the myth of money, or how to, it was something like that, right? Yeah. But one of the first things that it talked about was debt, and how debt seduces, and basically how to get out, and how to get out of debt. And I was about 22, 23 years old. And it was like, first things first, basically how the book opened up. First things first, before you keep reading, if you have debt, eliminate it, and then read chapter 2. That's basically, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull it off the shelf and put it on Instagram. Because I still have the book, okay? But that's what the book said. It was like, eliminate that and then keep reading, because it doesn't make sense for you to try to employ these strategies and you already got holes in your boat, right? You're basically going down, okay? So at 22, 23 years old, I started paying off my debt. I was broke. My buddies would be at the bar, they buying girls drinks, and I'm like, I can't afford to buy it, right? I got to pay off this Target card. By the way, I ran up my Target cards like $800. At 22 years old, $800 is a lot. Right? I had ran up my Target card. I had a Citibank card that I ran up to $3,000, and I wasn't making that kind of money. But those cards, let's go, right? New jeans, let's go, right? And so I started eliminating my debt. And the beauty in that is, by the time I was 25, 26, I had put myself in a financial position where my credit score was good enough for me to buy my first piece of property. And that was the beginning, right? But if I hadn't taken the advice of chapter 1,
you'd be in
get out of debt.
I would have never been able to buy that piece of property, right? Sure. And that was the beginning for me to a path of financial security. The other thing for me too was creating a vision. And I want to say that before we get into, I want you all to express yourselves and how you begin to create your wealth. But I created a vision, and my vision was to be financially stable and free. Like free from corporate America, because I spent 16 years in corporate America, right? Free from corporate America, and financially able to do pretty much what I wanted to do, right? At the age of 45. So as a young man, everything I was doing wasn't for the moment. It was for the future,
There you go.
right? And even like when my wife and I met, she was like, you kind of cheat. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, I mean,
You split the bill.
I need to understand what you mean, right? But
First
she's
day
like,
at White Castle.
she's like, I don't pass out money, right? But we were dating. I'm like, well, one of the things I told her, I said, I'm serious about you. I like you, so I'm gonna tell you this. But one of the things I decided a long time ago was that I wasn't gonna let a woman take money out of my wife and children's mouth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right now,
Okay.
you are likely going to be my wife. I'm feeling you like that. Hopefully we go that path, but you're not yet.
Yeah, huh?
You're not yet. And so I'm not about to be, throwing dollars at you, honey, because that can take from the wife,
Yeah,
like
right.
the, numero uno woman in my life.
Which could be you, but it's not yet.
But it's not yet, right? So then, when you walk down that aisles, I get your hair done, I get your nails did, all that. But until then, I don't know. How you been doing it before now?
If that's not the best pickup line ever.
Right, exactly.
That's the best line to keep money in.
I
Right.
got it.
Right.
I understand.
But that was the other thing. I mean, everything I did was from the future, right? How?
But that can I interject?
Yeah.
Because what you just said is tremendous. Because it's a long race. It's a marathon. And so many of us get out there and sprint. It pains me when I hear people say, oh, I intend on being a millionaire by the time I'm 30. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? 30?
Yeah.
I don't even want you to be a millionaire by 30. I wouldn't even want to be a millionaire by 30. It takes the fun from the game. I'm like, give yourself some goals. And I'm not saying that it's realistic or unrealistic because you can certainly do it. But I'm just saying 40, 45, those are realistic goals. But here's this. If you're 40 or 45, don't say you're changing. You can change overnight because actually you change your life in a moment.
Bingo.
You change your moment. You can change your life right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the manifestation of that change will happen over time.
Right.
So you can't say, next month I'm changing everything. No. I'm like, when I commit to a goal, when Linal commits to a goal, I'm certain when they commit to a goal, it's not a goal that you commit to for a week or 2 weeks or 1 month. My goals are 2-3 years.
Right.
I'm on pace I'm making stuff happen 5 years from now.
Exactly.
But what you do today?
Yes. And it requires consistency over an extended period of time. That's how you create financial freedom.
So Ernest, tell us, and then I want to hear from Matt and Sheena. But tell us how did you create your financial stability and wealth?
Well, let me say this quick, and then I'll tell you the truth. And I'm looking at Linal like, Linal, why the hell are you making us tell her? Because I can't be telling people this stuff.
Hey, let me tell you why.
I know it's necessary. We gotta share.
necessary.
We've gotta share. I know, Linal. We've gotta share.
Hey, I'm about to share numbers, bro.
We've gotta share.
Sheena, I'm giving Sheena she's gonna share numbers. I mean, they gonna know that I bought life insurance policies over $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm about to be transparent.
Yeah, I'll share.
But I'm being transparent for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because they're gonna learn some things.
Yeah. You got it.
And sometimes we like to walk around in secrecy and shroud. And here's the thing too, so that you all understand. Most people with money, most people with wealth, do not want people to know.
Exactly.
Now, Matt, you're in a different industry. You're in the financial industry, things like that. So there's you have to talk about the money, right? So people understand that you're credible because you built your own wealth.
Sure.
I get that. Ernest and I, we don't talk about money. we don't talk about. I don't walk around talking about I'm killing the game. I'm a baller. I never. I just watch people talk about it and say they are that, right? And when they throw in money, I'll pick it up. But I'm not going to talk about it, right? I'm just not going to talk about it. And I get your apprehension, Ernest, because most people who have done well for themselves financially do not talk about it, which is one of the reasons why others who want to do well do not know the playbook. because nobody's talking about it, right? I mean, Bill Gates has yet to publish a book on how he manages his money. As a matter of fact, the only person I've known who's done anything substantial like that is Ray Dalio.
Yeah, Principles.
Yeah, which is solid. I mean, solid.
It's like 3 books in 1 book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by the way, write that down.
Principles.
Yeah, Principles.
Ray Dalio.
By Ray Dalio. I mean, he talks about money in depth in that book, right?
And how he created his wealth. You know, working from home in an apartment back in the 60s, 70s, you know, creating Bridgewater. Amazing story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even T. Harv Eker.
T. Harv Eker. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he talks about how to get wealthy.
The mindset.
But he talks about his wealth and how he built his wealth too.
Mm-hmm.
He does talk about that. So that's another really good book for anybody who's listening.
Great book. Talks about your money blueprint while you're making financial decisions, a reflection of how you grew up.
Yep. T. Harv Eker.
Yeah.
Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
So you asked me a question.
Yes, sir.
I have to share this with the audience. Like, I created a level of financial freedom. Mm-hmm. First and foremost, I made a lot of mistakes.
Bingo.
I made a lot of money and I've lost a lot of money. So when I talk about money, I'm very passionate about it. I remember one time I made $100,000, $120,000 from a deal I put together in real estate about 10, 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I made it in a month and I lost it.
In a week.
I lost it in about 6 months. I was broke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you following?
I got you. I got you.
You know, my pathway to financial freedom was, you know, I started a business. So early on, I started betting on me. So my first formal business was at 24. I had retail stores, I had employees, and I was in law school. So like I put all of my money into my betting on me. And so it took me a lot of years. When you're an entrepreneur, it may take you a lot of years to actually have money. So because I kept re-upping. And in that process,
as you should,
you know, in that process of learning, I made money, I lost money, you know.
So
I went up
real
and down.
quick though, when you were re-upping, that meant that you couldn't spend money the way you wanted to.
Right, but I was.
Because you were
but you were.
I was and I wasn't. You follow what I'm saying?
It.
I was re-upping, but I was also, you know, stepping out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, spending that extra money. I wasn't as disciplined as I should have been.
In terms of saving.
Correct. But I certainly was investing in me. So like when I was 24, 25, I started my retail business. What I learned about retail is this, and this will all tie in at some point. Mm-hmm. Like in order to, as an example, in using retail, in order to make money, so you first have to come up with your number. Start from the bottom, work your way up. So bottom is, what is it that I need? So my number at 24, 25 was 10,000. Mm-hmm. So this is me sharing, because I wouldn't tell a person that.
A month?
10,000. I need 10,000 in my pocket.
Oh, in my pocket, okay.
Yeah, a month.
A month, I got it. Yeah, okay.
And this is 24, 25.
Got it.
Right? Now,
at 24, 25, man, I wasn't nowhere close to that.
Yeah, well, I wasn't either. Yeah. I was stealing money from me. Are you following me?
Got it.
See, oftentimes we think we're making money, but what we're really doing is stealing.
Mm-hmm. Explain that.
So, like Linal said that you need an emergency fund. Yep. So if you are in business and you make $10,000 a month, but you don't have an emergency fund, really you didn't make $10,000 a month. You're stealing. Yep. If you're running a business and you're putting $10,000 a month in your pocket, but your business doesn't have the equipment you need, you're not making money. You're stealing.
Oh yeah. You're stealing your future.
Yeah, you're stealing. So people walk around with these imaginary numbers and they tell people how much money they make, but they're really not making that money.
That's right.
We know. We know.
So I went through trial and error. I like to give this example, then I'll move. So as an example, in retail, it's like a 1-to-3 ratio. So if you want to make 10, right, then you got to sell really 5. You got to sell 50,000.
Okay.
And if you need to sell 50,000 to net 10, then that means you need 3 times of that inventory on your floor. Yep. So if you want to generate $30,000 a month in revenue in your retail business, you need at least $90,000 worth of merchandise on your floor. I'm using that example as an example of, Linal, you have to understand numbers in the game of money. And we don't understand our numbers, whether it be in retail, whether it be in our household, whether it be at our job. True. We don't know the numbers or the formula.
True. Very true.
To money.
And the challenge with numbers,
yes.
I've always said about numbers are facts, and facts are absolutes. The sad part about numbers is it's logical, it's purely logic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no emotion behind it, and what I've understood about business and wealth, it's really in the grays. But the black and whites tells us the truth. Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
So sometimes in the facts and numbers, is blending the two and understanding when to make decisions based on black and white, but also living in the grays, because we're human beings.
Yeah.
We make, sadly, the reason why people are in debt because they made an emotional purchase, or they feel like they deserve something because they worked so hard for it all week. I deserve this lifestyle, I deserve this, but yet they don't have it. But see, that's an emotional decision.
Yeah.
See, in the debt, the facts tell us that you're making the wrong decision, but the emotion says go spend it.
Well, money, we get crazy and monkey and emotional about money. I mean, I wrote a blog years ago where a buddy of mine, so when my car got totaled, he let me use his car for about a month, actually 3 months. He let me use his car for 3 months while I was shopping for a good deal for another car, right? And so I finally bought my car, and it was brand new. I got brand new Audi, and I leave town, and he's like, "Bro, I need your car." So okay, I mean, this man let me drive his car for 3 months. Well, when I got back, the rim was scratched.
Oh,
right.
How we feel about scratched rims on whips?
I've done it before.
I stay on my wife about it too, right?
Sorry.
But so the rim, and when I say scratch, not like around the seal, I'm talking about right in the middle, right?
That's a straight curb shot.
Yeah, I mean right in the middle, right? Now, first thing I thought is this is gonna cost me $400. I was livid. This is a 40-year frame. At looking at the rim, understanding it was gonna cost me $400, I was ready to break off a 40-year friendship, right?
Cut you loose.
Because that's what money does to us.
Yeah.
And I had to step outside of myself and say, wait a second, you haven't asked any questions.
Right.
You haven't checked in with him at all. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
I reached out and said, hey man, my rim is scratched. He said, what? I said, it's scratched. I sent him a picture. He's like, bro, I am sorry. I got that, right? Went to the dealership. Dealership was like, oh yeah, we can fix that for $90.
Wow.
But the reason I'm saying that, because you're dead on to something.
Yeah.
When it comes to money, we do not operate with logic.
Yeah.
We do not make rational decisions. So that's another reason why many of us just don't have it. And we will fire our mama over money.
I don't think Mama's watching the show this morning.
She's watching.
She is. My Mama Mildred.
But Nell, again, you just said something very profound, though, we need to pull out. Because on the one hand, you have to have a consciousness of money, but on the other hand, you cannot be a prisoner to money.
That's right.
You can't have a tight fist on money. You gotta have a loose hand with your money.
That's right. That's right.
Otherwise, you won't keep it.
That's right.
So money's not my God, but I understand its use in my life.
Yeah.
And then it frees you up because there are two extremes. It's the extreme of I don't have any. Like you don't have the psychology to save money. You have an adverse relationship with money and success. That's cultural oftentimes. There's some trauma in your past that won't allow you to keep money because it has a valuation. But then on the other extreme, there are people who just hold on to it.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to let it go. And there's no better. See, you might as well be broke because you too are a prisoner.
Exactly.
Just with money.
They call that a miser.
Yeah, that's not cool either.
No, it's not.
So yeah.
Yeah. So Matt and Sheena, how did you all create your wealth?
I mean, I think the common denominator with everyone in this room and the 17% you mentioned that did have an emergency fund, if you break that number down, I guarantee you the majority of them are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So I remember making a 6-figure income in a corporate setting, Fortune 100 company, 2 degrees, just did everything I was taught. I looked at my paycheck and I started getting disgruntled. I was like, this FICA person is making me want to fight,
Hey, tell me about it.
I was like, I have no control over how much I keep.
That's
so
right.
so when people go to the other side, which we're never taught, we're only taught to work for somebody, and we're taught to get into debt and to borrow. But the minute you get to the other side and start learning entrepreneurship, you learn about portfolio income, passive income, and ways to control this thing called taxes.
What you say? Did you say passive?
These other sources of income outside of ordinary income.
Did you say passive?
I said passive.
What does that mean?
That's when money just comes to you without even you doing anything. You're sleeping. Like real estate investments, for example. You're making money while you sleep. That concept is not a dream anymore. To me, it's just I stepped outside the box.
So wait a second. I'm sleeping. And I'm making money.
Yes, it's a business.
Okay. All right, keep going. I just had to stop you.
Well, I think a lot of times we talk about, where this behavior, these are learned behaviors when it comes to money. Mm-hmm. And until we identify, like even when me and my husband started making good money, my learned behaviors about money from my past kept coming up. My mom sitting at the kitchen table with an old school checkbook, right?
Right.
And her face was just so stressed out. And I always remember, hold tight to your money, just like you just said, Ernest. Hold tight to your money, hold tight to your money. So the minute we started making money, my husband could attest to this. I was like, get away from it. Just keep it. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. And I'm sure every wife could.
If you all can see Matt's face, he's like, oh.
You can't eat the ice cream? I mean, we're just going to put all the ice cream in the freezer and not touch it?
But it's crazy because even with making good money, if you don't change that behavior, you're going to turn right back around to where you began.
Right.
And then you have the polar opposite. Now, his learned behavior is completely opposite of mine. So you imagine the fights that ensued. His was when he earned money as a kid, he wanted to reward himself. So the minute money came to him, he was like, let's go spend, let's go do.
Right.
So we had totally opposite learned behaviors that even when we made money, we had to learn a new blueprint that did create this scarcity mindset that got rid of it and created abundance. So our key to wealth is truly just entrepreneurship and changing our money blueprint.
Entrepreneurship. It's interesting that everybody around the table is an entrepreneur.
Right. It started in our 20s.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I spent 16 years in corporate America, but one of the things I knew, as a matter of fact, when I left, I was making very good money. And I shared this on the show before. The company trusted me with over $200 million in the budget. I was making well over six figures twice, almost three times, well, basically three times with bonus, right?
Good.
Making very good money. And like you said, I was getting taxed. I mean, taxed. Even though I was doing my best with real estate and other things to find shelter, I was getting taxed. And by the way, the number one way most of us are losing our money is to taxes. Let's put that out there, right? If you think your mama get a little bit of money you giving her, you think that's your problem. Nah, it's your uncle. It's not your mama, it's your uncle. It's your Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is in your pocket, believe it or not, okay?
And cousin Illinois.
Yeah, and your cousin, and your cousin Illinois, no doubt about it. They are in your pocket. I mean, before you even see the money. All right, but anyway, so I'm in corporate America, but I started thinking like, if this company will pay me that amount of money, if they will pay me that amount of money to be about their business, what am I really worth? If I were to step out on my own and create business as an entrepreneur, like what could I really create? And I knew that basically if I stayed in corporate America, I could become a millionaire. I mean, I was blessed to get into the executive suite, where those are the only millionaires, by the way, in corporate America.
C-suites.
C-suite, right? Only millionaires.
The chief this, chief that.
Exactly. Only millionaires. Everybody else, they might be getting six figures. They are not millionaires, right? And by the way, they're millionaires through options. And so they're millionaires who are handcuffed to the business.
Yeah, golden handcuffs.
Golden hand. And when I tell you, that was the hardest part about leaving, is knowing that when I left, I would be leaving options on the table that were worth a lot of money. A lot. So that's how they hold you in at that level, right? They handcuff you. But my point is that I knew that I had to get out of there if I really wanted to hit my potential.